Last night I went to be Menahem Avelim, which means to comfort people who lost a family member. And I didn't know I was going to meet there a certain member of the Knesset from the Likud. I won't mention his name because I don't know if he would want me to mention his name, but he was there, and I was sitting right next to him, and we spoke for a short while. And I asked him when he was about to leave. I said, "Do you have any possibly good news for me? Like, when are we going to get rid of Netanyahu?" And he said to me, and he said to me with a kind of, black humor. He said to me, "Netanyahu is certainly a huge problem, but it's not just Netanyahu. It's an entire uh, layer of military and political leadership and bureaucracy that is digging our graves, and
Correct.
and all of that has to go." And then he said to me the following. He said, "You have to understand, even Netanyahu doesn't really know what's going on." He said, Gallant, who is the Minister of Defense, that these two people who bear tremendous responsibility for the current situation, who were both chiefs of staff in the past, that is to say, Gantz and Eisenkot. They're on the war cabinet, and the fourth person is the current chief of staff, Herzia Levy. He said, "Oh, those people, they're like they're a small clique. All these people, they're all ex-army, they're all friends, they're all mates from their army days. They are a clique against Netanyahu, and they keep him out of the loop a lot of the time. He doesn't actually know what's going on, and they also don't really recognize the fact that he's the prime minister and that he should be at least nominally in charge." It was reported, I heard this yesterday, it was reported the other day that Netanyahu um, called Herzia Levy, the chief of staff, General Herzia Levy, to come to the cabinet meeting and give an overview of what's going on. And Herzia Levy said to him, "I'm too busy running the war, I can't come." So we have
That
to
says it
understand,
all.
and we also have to keep in mind that this war cabinet that is keeping Netanyahu out of the loop, and this person obviously knows what he's saying. He obviously knows things that I don't know. He's closer to the sources, and he knows this, and he said this without any equivocation. Uh, it's Netanyahu who created that war cabinet, that clique that works against him or on
Well,
according to their own idea of what should be going on, and they don't really care what he has to say.
there are two things I have to say in response to that. Number one, a drowning man very often can drag a lifeguard down with him when he's thrashing about. And I said when I first heard who this cabinet was going to, this war cabinet was going to be composed of, I said, okay, Bibi may fear that in the aftermath of the war, the recriminations and the electorate is going to be so mad that he wants to make sure that if he goes down, he drags the other ones down with him, and that's something to keep in mind, and it would be characteristic of him. The other thing is, Bibi traditionally has never been able to pull the trigger. By that, I mean doing anything decisive, especially militarily. And so he selected the very people, Eisenkot, Gantz, and even Gallant, who are of like mind. These are incrementalists. These are the people where the terminology, kicking the can down the road, mowing the grass, managing the enemy, this is his style. And this is what led him to capitulate to the Americans for this and adopt this three-stage insanity of a war of attrition. This is what these guys, this clique that you mentioned most accurately, this clique only understand. They don't understand anything decisive. They only understand managing a problem. And that's what we're going to have. We're going to have a managed problem Gaza that will bleed our army, will demoralize our army, and that will absolutely cause the rest of the country to be despondent and depressed over the fact that we are seizing defeat from the jaws of victory. That's what's going on right now. That's not my phrase. I have to admit that I'm copying a phrase on that. But that's exactly what the War Cabinet, the military high command, and Bibi in particular is doing. They are seizing defeat from the jaws of victory. And it's the guys that are camped outside Bibi's office right now. God bless them for their courage and integrity. And people should be supporting them as much as they can. These are the real heroes.
We need a true million-man march out and demonstration outside Netanyahu's office
for victory.
Yes, exactly. But many people feel that demonstrating against the government at this juncture, or even criticizing their policies and their actions, is somehow unpatriotic and possibly demoralizing and also self-defeating.
When the soldiers,
this is why so many people, I think, are reluctant to do so.
When the soldiers themselves and the polling, for what it's worth, indicate that there is massive wall-to-wall opposition to this course of action that we're embarked on now, it is the duty and obligation of a citizen, of a patriot, to stand up and protest. And we're not protesting, by the way, for defeat. We're not protesting for a ceasefire. We're not protesting for an armistice, a final armistice. We are protesting for victory. This is the most compelling reason for citizens to stand up and demand a change. If that doesn't result in demoralization, that will give the army, the soldiers at least, courage to know that the citizens are behind them. The soldiers want to fight, but they have to know that their mothers, their fathers, their friends, their brothers, their families are behind them 100% in their justifiable demand to fight this war to the end on our terms. So people can't say we don't want to sow disunity by protesting. No, I don't want to sow disunity. No, nobody who loves this country does. We want to basically create the impetus that will scare the hell out of this so-called war cabinet to tell the Americans, go have your, you've had your chance in Vietnam. You had your chance in Iraq. You had your chance in Afghanistan. You failed. Leave us alone, number one. And number two, go have your own elections and leave us alone also. You have a problem with your electorate? That's your problem. That's not our fault. Thank you very much and goodbye. This is the whole point of being a strong Jew. A starker Yid, as my grandfather, Alev Shalom, would say, a starker Yid in our own land. You don't have to be a religious Zionist. You don't have to be anything. You just have to be a good Jew in our land now, our homeland, to say, we'll take care of the problem ourselves. We don't need anybody looking over our shoulders or holding our hands behind our backs. The soldiers will fight. Baruch Hashem. We have Jewish warriors again.
Baruch Hashem, we do. It would be wonderful if we had a leadership truly worthy of such soldiers.
Amen, amen, amen.
There is no problem on the level of the
Chayalim, the soldiers.
The actual troops on the ground.
And there's no problem with
willingness to fight, and their professionalism, their courage, and the field commanders. There's no problem there. The problem is all at the upper echelons. Those who have been infected with the Oslo postmodernist religion. That's the problem.
I have said from the minute I got here 3 years ago, the problem with the army is that they would rather throw bodies rather than bombs at the enemy. And people should remember that. This is their mindset.